Hey artists! Today we're coming to you live from our deck in the sun. Dudley, PJ, and me. Oh, I have to tell you, Ellie got adopted. So it's just us three now, but which is good. I do miss Ellie, but I'm really glad she found a good home. So, whoa, these guys are just teaching me a lot about napping. I'm taking it chill right now, which is great. I hope you're well. Let's go draw a hummingbird. Come on. So here we go. Here's my little hummingbird feeder that's on my front deck. I've noticed that there's a lot of food left in these lately just because it's spring and there's actual real trees out there for the hummingbirds to get their food from. So they haven't been using my feeders as much, but I'm gonna take you on a little tour. This is my, walking to my kitchen. I'm gonna go over here to my art studio spot where we're gonna do our video. All right, I'm gonna get set up and we'll get started. Okay, so today we're going to draw a beautiful hummingbird hanging out, flying, sipping some nectar from some beautiful flowers that we're gonna draw. So here's a picture of one that's in flight because they always drink while they're flying. And his little wings are out. You can see him, little tail. Check out this curve here, tail feathers. Hummingbirds are amazing. They're so tiny. Look at this. Here's a picture of a hummingbird nest, and here's another one. It's kind of small. I don't know if you can see it, but look at, there's a dime on the branch next to it, and the inside of the nest is the size of a dime. Here's an actual dime. Look at my finger compared to the dime. That means the hummingbird's nest is like the size of my fingertip, and those little eggs are like the size of tiny little Tic Tacs or sprinkles on a cupcake. It's crazy how small they are. And look at this one. Oh my gosh, there's tiny little babies. They're amazing. Anyway, they're my favorite bird because they're little and they're beautiful and they come around. They're really friendly. I'm gonna keep showing you pictures. I have 2 hummingbird feeders at my house. I showed you one, and I have one in the front and one in the back. And they have actually come inside my kitchen before, and I don't know if they want to or if the back door was open and they just kind of came in to see what was going on, but I've had to pick them up and get them out of my house, which is a total treat because I love them so much. But yeah, they're very friendly. They'll come scream at me when the feeder's empty and they'll be like, hey, give us more food, we're hungry. And I'm like, okay, got it coming. So anyway, I adore them. And the ones that live here in the Northwest are typically called Anna's hummingbirds, and they look like this. And they're here year round. They're here in the winter too. So it's really important to feed them in the winter when the trees aren't blooming and the flowers and stuff aren't blooming. They can't get natural nectar. And sometimes those hummingbird feeders can freeze. So I'm always out there putting light bulbs on them to making sure that their food is good and they can access it. Anyway, they're really cool, beautiful creatures. I'll share some more tips about them as we draw. But I just like to look at them. Their wings and their feathers are very iridescent, meaning they're sort of pearly and can change color in different light. So they're just beautiful. So today we're going to learn how to draw one, and we're going to be drawing a hummingbird and some flowers for it to be eating from, and some leaves, whatever you want to put in your background. So there's one with some flowers. Here's another picture of a cool bunch of flowers that I found that I just like. They're simple, and I drew inspiration from these flowers when I drew my picture, which I'll show you in a minute. Here's another picture of beautiful flower, purple again, but you can do yours whatever colors you like. And then I also have this to share, which is an artist drawing of a hummingbird getting into the middle of the flower. You can see how tiny he is with that really giant flower. So I love that one too. So our drawing today is gonna look something like that. Let's see, I've got a couple other samples. I'm gonna take this away. There's one by a student artist, again inspired by those purple flowers. And for that we drew it with black. You can use whatever color you want. I think we started with pencil on this and then traced over the lines we liked. And then used watercolor to fill them in. Here's one that I did. That one's with watercolor. The bird's a lot bigger in that one. Sometimes it's nice to keep them smaller in your drawing so you really get an idea of how teeny weeny they can really be. And here's another sample. This one goes a different direction. You can see that one is what, guys? Landscape. This one's in portrait. I'm going to be drawing today in landscape so that we can get our whole bird on there. I don't know, I like this layout a lot. So, and I got some really fun flowers going on in the background. Again, that's with watercolor. And I'll talk to you about color after we get through our drawing today. So we're gonna, again, go through it step by step on a piece of paper. Get whatever paper you have ready. Get a marker, a pencil, whatever you wanna use. And if you just want to practice this one and not make it like a big final piece, that's great. Just draw along with me and then you've had the practice and then you can take out your fancy paper and do a more fancy drawing if you want. So no pressure. Again, don't forget you can slow down the video so that it goes a little slower or it goes a little faster if I'm, yammering too much, which sometimes I do. Okay, there's my shirt. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay. Got my paper laid out landscape today, which is the wide way. Again, you can do yours whichever direction you'd like. And let's get started. So we're gonna start, I find it's best to get everything to fit if you kind of just look for the middle of your paper. And we're gonna draw a little dot there. That's gonna be your hummingbird's eye. Then come out maybe 2 finger widths over this direction towards this corner, and we're going to start our first line. It's going to loop around the eye, up there and stop. All right, now we're going to add his wing. Come stop at the edge of the paper, making like a triangle shape. Okay, now this is his back, so we're gonna come up here, jump over the wing, and just continue down towards the corner of your paper, and these will become his long little tail feathers. Sort of look like little fingers reaching for the corner. And you can add to those later, we'll just leave it at that for now. Okay. Now we're going to come back up here, leave a little space, maybe 1 finger's width, make a little dot if that helps you. And also this is another really good tip for when you're drawing, just to get a visual for where you're going to go and what you're doing. If you use your invisible finger, I call this my invisible line finger, and just sort of guide it along where you want it to go, where you think you want your line to be, so you get an idea of where you're going with your drawing. It's really helpful. So then we're going to come down, we're going to come in, they have pretty narrow necks, curve out a tiny bit, and then come towards those tail feathers. He almost looks like a seal. Or she. He, she, I don't know. Okay, now let's go ahead over here to the hummingbird's beak. They're very long, and again, get an idea of where you want that beak to go. They're super long. They have a tongue that comes out. Some people think they're hollow like a straw, but actually they have little grooves on them to help suck up the nectar, and they come out so long and thin. Don't worry about making it too long. I think it's cool if it's really long. So we'll come that way and then back. There, very long and skinny. All right. Now here you can draw another wing. If you'd like his wing, you have a choice here. You can draw a wing going up this way like it's behind him, or sometimes I've showed some pictures, you might see some photos of hummingbirds where the other wing is down this direction. So I think I'm gonna go up this way today, just because I think it's maybe a little bit easier to figure out. And I'll just do that. Okay, now we'll add a little line here where his beak kind of meets his face. And now this is the fun part. You've got your hummingbird. Now's the time when you can start adding details, like if you want to add the little teeny weeny feathers that you might find in its chest, if you want to do any patterning, more feathers down here, longer ones on its tail. They kind of look like little V's the way I draw them. Again, you can do that up here on his wings. Let's see, let's go this way. Little feathery things. Take your time. Those look like little candy canes. Have fun, go for it. Add whatever you'd like. And once you're happy with that, or if you want to move on to the next part, that would be to draw the environment where your hummingbird is. Where is he eating, or he or she eating? What kind of nectar, what kind of flowers? So I'm just going to draw the kind of flowers that I was inspired by when I first did my drawing. Sort of like the little things that come out. And then some big, I like to draw on big paper because, guys, remember when you draw to move your whole arm, because if I put my hand here and only go like as far as my fingers will reach, I'll end up with like a really little dinky petal. So big, move your arm, look at that. Look how big you can get when you move your hand, right? Don't forget, I think I'm always yelling at you to do that. Or suggesting you do that, I mean, you know, when we're in our class, yeah, okay. Whatever else you want to add. There's some beautiful flowers. Maybe you want to add some leaves in your environment. Maybe there's a petal there. And then however many you want. I mean, hummingbirds are teeny weeny, right? So when they go to get in the bushes, there's lots of bushes around them. They're kind of in there, so you can fill it up as much as you want, or as little as you want. It's up to you. Some more flower petals. Ooh, I'm going to do those. Little seed things. Maybe these kind of remind me of when I add these cherry blossoms, which are happening right now. Lots of those. They're beautiful. Okay. So you can fill that in however you want. And again, add more little feathers. There you go, you've got your hummingbird. Not that you know how to draw one. If you have room on your paper, you can always add more too. Maybe there's a couple in your neighborhood that are buzzing around getting stuff. So there you go. Don't forget to sign your beautiful artwork like an artist, like down in the corner. And then we'll talk about color. I'll get my supplies and give you guys some options for how you might want to add some color and interest to these. All right, that was easy, huh? So here I am with my watercolor setup, and I've got, how many brushes? I've got 3 different brushes. Remember that, I mean, if you have a few different sizes, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But if you do, remember that a small brush works really great for small areas. Medium brush works great for maybe the medium areas. And then if you've got a big area to fill in, a big brush will be your friend there. So don't forget that. I wanted to just remind you of that. The other thing I wanted to remind you of was this over here, this like circle of action, I like to call it, where when you are doing watercolors, it's nice to have a setup where your circle of action is water, paint, paper, and paper towels in there too if you need to dab off your brush. But it's really helpful. I'm going to use my medium brush because first of all, you need the water to activate your watercolors. So water, I'm going to go for the red. paint, gently swirling in there. And then I'll just go first. Ooh, look at that. Paper. The circle of action. Water, maybe a little dab. Some more paint. Whoa. Good color happening. Can see how overlapping, like letting it dry a little bit and then getting in there with another color, another layer of the same color can make things really, really bright. Let's try. So rinse in between your colors. Maybe these aren't used yet lately, so need a little bit of stuff in there to activate my colors. Gentle swirl. Ooh. Again, I'm just gonna go right in there because it's still a little wet. Ooh, look how dark that can get. That's pretty cool. Okay. Swirling. I think I wanna try a little yellow with that green. I know that the yellow with the green can make it kind of chartreusey, and I think that's kind of fun. So you guys go for it. You can paint yours however you want. That's a little sample of watercolor. Again, getting in there. Here's a big brush. Find some blue for this bigger area. If I wanted to make it blue, maybe I want to make it purple. Big areas, bigger brush. Okay, you have fun with that. You can paint yours however you'd like. All right, have fun. I was looking through my folder and I found some other unfinished projects of the hummingbird that I started. So another medium you can use are your oil pastels. If you've got some of these are great for this project because then you can blend them and get some really cool colors going on. Did some blending here with the pink and the green and the purple. Got some orange going on down here. Adding some lighter stuff there. Ooh, that one's got a little dirt on it. Can be cool. I love oil pastels because the more you use them, the more you layer them, the more exciting kind of things become. It starts to turn into like paint on your paper, and the more you push back and forth with these, the more it builds up and it gets sort of creamy and slippery. That's what you want. You want like cool things to happen like that. Then it gets sort of like painty. And you blend the oil pastels with each other. Instead of like rubbing and then using your finger like you would do with chalk pastels, with oil, you just want to blend the oil pastel with the oil pastel color. So let's see, these are cool to use. Here with a normal orange. You can see I had a bunch built up on there, but now I'm adding even more, and it's getting more exciting. The colors are getting richer and heavier. All the little spots in my paper are going away. Like I said, it starts to feel creamy, and then you can start really pushing those colors together and creating some sort of painterly-like effects, like almost like paint brushes. I don't know if you can see that. Sometimes the little bits come off onto your oil pastel like that. You can smush them back on there. If they're on your paper, you can use your finger to just sort of press them in a little bit too, but take it easy. Don't start going all like that because then you're gonna just kind of end up with a mess, right? Also, I've done a little outlining with black here. Always do that last, because if you ever add black or a really dark color to the edges, you're invariably gonna go like this and like get on top of it and start dragging it into your work, which maybe you like. I mean, that can be a way to do things, but if you don't want that to happen like that, add the black last. So oil pastels can be cool. Like add more up here. Like I worked on this, when did I make this? 2013, oh my gosh. That was a long time ago. You know, coming back to it, still working. That said, I had another idea for you guys. If you have artwork in your folders, you know, from years past that you want to come back to, maybe there's stuff you haven't finished yet from our classes, dig it out. And like now that you have like from years ago or even last year, I'm sure you've acquired some new skills and new thoughts and new ideas. dig your stuff out and like see if you can change things or add to them, you know? Go for it. You don't have to reinvent everything all the time. You can kind of come back to things too. Whoa, that's really fun. Sometimes I'm like, how did I do that? It's pretty cool. So anyway, come back to things and work on them. Also, oil pastel, you can use watercolor with this. Like I could go in and do a watercolor background if I wanted to, but I think I'm gonna work on this some more after I'm done talking to you guys and get something going there. So that's another thing you can do, oil pastels. Okay, so hi. Building on that idea of taking some art you've already made and adding to it, here's another idea for you. Here's the bird I showed you in the beginning that has, it has a like watercolory paint on it. And one thing you can do, which is kind of cool, is take, if you have any chalk pastels, even if you have like sidewalk chalk or something, you can use that. But I just wanted to show you, you can take a Q-tip. Probably want to just kind of keep this pretty simple and gentle. Rub your Q-tip. See how that dust is happening? Pick up a bunch of color on your Q-tip and then can kind of go in and brush, use this like a little paintbrush and add some interest and color over the top of any watercolor or something like that. Or even, yeah, I think it works best on watercolor or tempera paint. This can work on any tempera paint drawings that we've done in the past. I love using chalk over tempera. And that's kind of cool. You can kind of add some interest and just, you know, rework another project that you've already done. There's some, let's try some orange. Whoa, oh, look at that, you guys. That really just made the orange on my little guy's throat really pop out. So give that a try. You know, these are the kinds of things you can spend like a bunch of time doing. Get some yellow on here. Sometimes colors fade. This is kind of a crummy old Q-tip. Ew, that looks like earwax, yuck. There we go. Ooh, bright. Cool. Have fun with that if you'd like. Another thing you can do too is always when something's dry, except don't do this on oil pastel because you'll ruin your markers, but if you wanted to trace over any lines to make them more vibrant and thicker, that can be cool too. So again, the flowers. This is a thick marker. I don't know. Have fun with the artwork that you've made and make some new stuff. Please be sure to share stuff with me. If you're making things at home, ask your parents to take a picture of it and email it to me or text it to me because I'd love to see what you're doing. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.